an edge over Holy Pally God Comp.
I know, I think Asper is the one that told me that if the Holy Paladin God counts plays perfectly, there's no way they can win. And I mean,
Yes.
bringing it up against the best, probably one of the best ones in the game, is going to be rough. They can exploit it because they have a Holy Paladin instead of a Resto Druid. Typically, you wouldn't be able to use Solar Beam almost at all on the healer as a Resto Druid, but in this matchup, he's going to be able to use that. And he's running Fairy Swarm instead of Typhoon, so he's not going to be able to stop a lot of CC. He wants to slow them down in case they run a lot. Deep Freeze onto Elite. Khryl taking a bunch of Star Surge damage right now. Asper going very aggressive onto him, but now he's going to get Horrified, have a bit of the damage turned around onto him as Versace gets polyed. Asper's going to Trinket out of that Displacer Beast. The Ice Novas are going to connect, but he's out of line of sight for now. He should be okay.
Yeah, and that's going to be key, especially if they're going to be targeting Asper to get through that Trinket. So now that they got his Trinket, the next time they land on him, they'll probably end up getting his Barkskin. It's just going to be about slowly whittling down those cooldowns. Versace now popping his wings, trying to top off Asper before any incoming CC lands. Mageiden getting spam polyed by Rositajonez. Elite caught into a deep freeze. The clone goes out on a Rositajonez by Asper. They're trying to set up on Khryl, but he has sack at the moment. And any CC that comes in on Elite is going to be broken. Rositajonez getting polymorphed instantly to spells. Now Asper popping that Barkskin did get caught into that Horrify, hovering around 40% HP. Versace now caught into the DR Silence. His wings are fading. He does catch a huge heal there and is able to top himself. But now Asper has no Trinket, no Barkskin available, and the next swap on him could be devastating.
Yeah, Versace's going to have to use some of his cooldowns to extend it if Asper keeps playing as aggressive as he is, and he's pushing up, getting Cyclones onto Elite. A Double Fear lands with a Deep Freeze onto Versace. Asper's trying to throw out more clones, but he's getting swapped, so he's got to be careful. He Solar Beams on top of the Mage Rosita to try and stop some damage, but he gets silenced now at 40% HP. He's desperately trying to line of sight, taking a lot of Devouring Plague damage from Khryl here, and Kryl's just pushing in to finish the job. Versace dispels a VT here, Saved by the Light's going to proc. Asper trying to defensively clone, but Khryl just line of sights it, going for another clone now onto Rosita, Poly onto Elite. It's a 3v1 onto Khryl. Rosita blocks out to try and save him here. I believe Warmaster got blown there to get a bit more extra damage onto Khryl, and now a clone onto Elite. It might be Kryl's Disperse here. Ice Nova's going to connect and force that.
Yeah, and Elite, he does have his bubble available as well as his Warmaster. Trinket's about to come back up, so I think Khryl is going to be okay if Elite rotates those cooldowns correctly. Khryl can do an offensive clone right now, trying to deny the heals from Elite as he has that Avenging Wrath up at the moment, but he's going to be able to top off Khryl before the full polymorph is incoming. Versace now caught into the full fear. Rositajonez deciding to block that CC offensively. They want to make something happen on Asper right now. Versace now caught into that full polymorph. Asper just running, trying to play as defensive as possible, popping that Barskin. He knows Versace's going to be in a long CC chain. He's just trying to avoid as much damage as possible and keep himself topped up, but he's still hovering around 50% HP. Versace finally able to get some heals on him. They're trying to turn it around onto Rositajonez, who has no ice blocks left. He doesn't have Coulson up for 2 minutes. The offensive clone coming up from Asper onto Rositajonez switches it over to Elite, who immediately bubbles. Rositajonez could be in a little bit of trouble using both his blocks offensively there. Hovering around 30% HP, still getting chunked down. Elite's finally going to get out of CC and be able to top him off, but Rositajonez potentially making a mistake by using both blocks offensively.
And Asper's cutting the whole time that Versace has his Avenging Wrath up, and those wings are going to be fading. Khryl gets cycloned by Asper. He's trying to push up here in the center of the map. Versace gets deep to silence on a Mageiden. They're switching over to him while he was on Hypothermia for 10 more seconds. Asper off healing, Versace using his Trinket there, and Execution Sense to top him off. Cold Snap now being used by Mageiden. He's going to have one more block. Deep Freeze onto Elite, Hodge onto Khryl, Clone onto Rositajonez, 3v1 onto Khryl once again, and he doesn't have Disperse for 20 seconds. He's got to be careful. Saved by the Light's going to proc. Elite gets bashed on his Avenging Wrath. Asper going for a clone. Not going to be able to get it. He gets hodged up, and now it's a 3v1 onto Asper. Devouring Plague comes in. He Barkskins. It might not be enough. The poly sits onto Versace here. He's trying to kite away in bear form in line of sight. Krill's damage, but he gets deep frozen. He's going to blink immediately out of that in line of sight. Start spamming the rejuves. Ice Novas come in. Rosita wants to finish the job. Versace's trying to reconvene to Asper. He should be able to pick him up here. Khryl gets Cyclone, a poly onto Rosita. Deep freeze onto Elite. Doesn't seem like he's going for any. He actually lands the full ring, and now the Hodge onto Khryl. He has Disperse again. He should be alright. Mageiden choosing to use his second block offensively here, and Krill's just going to answer the polymorph with a Disperse here as Elite doesn't have a Trinket or Bubble to remove it.
Yeah, now both mages are in a position where they don't have Ice Block. Obviously, Rosita has his up in around 30 seconds, but Khryl still the one taking damage. Elite caught into the DR clone. Khryl hovering around 40% HP. See if they can get any more CC on Elite. perhaps maybe an offensive clone onto Khryl. Asbur taking a lot of damage though into that Hodge. Versace immediately popping that bubble and Avenging Wrath to try to keep him topped off. The Hodge comes out onto Khryl. The deep freeze on Elite. Khryl could be in a lot of trouble here. Elite doesn't have his bubble or trinket available. He's going to get out of CC and get some heals onto Khryl, but he's still in a little bit of trouble. Going to be able to get topped off right now, and both teams have stabilized.
Yeah, and Asper's going to pull back with Versace, who uses Avenging Wrath once again. Mageiden in the center of the map here. He doesn't have any blocks. He's going to be careful, pull back with his team. Khryl and Rosita now trying to cross the map. Elite's going to have his bubble in 20 seconds as well as his trinket in 30. I feel like they're kind of waiting for that, building the icicles, building the shadow orbs, and waiting for that moment to strike. Poly's now being spammed on Mageiden by Rosita, trying to eat up the dispels by Versace, and he did sacrifice the deep freeze. I'm sure it's going to get spell stolen here. It actually didn't get spell stolen. It's going to break. Asper gets dispelled there. Sounds on the Mageiden to try and cross CC, but Asper can defensively cyclone now. Elite into the deep freeze, into the full poly. Khryl gets locked out on the massive spell. Mageiden blinking in to finish him off. Full Hodge onto Khryl. No disperse for 44 seconds. He's going to trinket that. Ice Nova connects. He's going for the massive spell once again. He lands that one. Disarm onto Asper now. Khryl trying to turn it around, finding some way to get the damage out. Frozen Orb is going to be answered by the Barkskin from Asper. He's now going for the defensive cyclones. He gets locked out. He's going to have to displace the beast away. He gets deeped in the center of both pillars. Mageiden defensively polymorph. He gets silenced on it. Versace now into the full Hodge. Has his trinket, choosing not to. Asper dipping lower and lower, trying to run away with the stampeding roar. Get a little bit more CC defensively. Rosita's going to get cloned out. Asper's recovered.
And both Paladins actually have full mana going into dampening here. It's not a very mana-intensive fight when Paladins only have to single target heal, so I don't know how much of a factor that's going to be until late into dampening right now. And it's funny to me that even though these mages are using their blocks so offensively, it's just there's such a hard target to kill. So Khryl and Asper are both going to be the target of choices going forward. And as I say that, Mageiden taking a little bit of damage. He does have that block up in 2 seconds, so he's going to be A-OK, hovering down to 20%. If he uses it, he uses the Cold Snap. He has the block available. The Save by the Light comes out on him. He might not even have to block, but yeah, he doesn't even have to block. Versace blows that Avenging Wrath and is able to top him off. Khryl taking a significant amount of damage though. The Save by the Light coming out onto him. He's trying to MD the clone onto Elite. Doesn't manage to get it. And Elite does have those wings up. He's caught into a full polymorph though. He's choosing to bubble that. Khryl was in a lot of trouble. He has Disperse available, but they're just going to use the bubble instead of Kryl's Disperse there. Asper taking damage at the moment, hovering around 40% HP. Versace caught into the full polymorph at the moment. This could be the game. Versace trinketing the full fear from Khryl to try to top off Asper. That was the Save of the Light though.
Yeah, there's a lot of cooldowns. There's no Trinket and Barkskin available for the next Deep Freeze round, but the full poly lands onto Elite. Khryl not looking like he's going for a Master Spell, triple CC. Kryl's going to disperse immediately to answer all of that crowd control out onto Elite. He doesn't have his Trinket or his Bubble, and now he's getting put into the Cyclone. Khryl is playing very defensive right now, running away. Mageiden blinks in, double Ice Novas him for a significant amount. Asper gets hodged up by Elite, though. He's trying to pick back Khryl. Poly onto Versace, the turnaround onto Asper now. He doesn't have Skin, he doesn't have Trinket. He's caught in a Horrify in the center of the map as a result of the Displacer Beast. Versace dispelling him now into the full fear. Asper actually goes into stealth here with the Shadow Meld, dodging a lot of the damage, now coming out with a defensive Cyclone on Rosita. Poly onto Elite, now it's a 3v1 onto Khryl. He gets locked in the Master Spell. Star Surges are coming in. He's desperately trying to line of sight here. Elite still CC'd into the Solar Beam now. Kryl's getting Star Surged, and Asper's trying to catch up as well as Mageiden to finish the job. Bash into Elite. He's going to bop himself out. A Silence comes out defensively, I believe, there, and he should be okay with Elite getting out of that bash now, and Mageiden on the back, but has one block. He's got to make sure that he uses it.
Yeah, and hopefully he will. Versace in the polymorph right now. Mageiden catches a huge heal from Versace's wings there. Versace now caught into the Frostjaw, so he's still not out of CC yet, but he is able to top off Mageiden and he's going to be just fine. And both teams just have so much CC. It's hard for either one of them to really land a kill. Khryl now caught into the full Hodge, but he has that sacrifice up from Elite. So beautifully done by Elite, sacrificing that deep freeze onto him. Versace caught into the full polymorph. Mageiden taking a lot of damage. He has no ice blocks left for another 48 seconds. Down to 60% HP. Versace has no bubble, no trinket available. So they can get any follow-up CC onto him. He could be in a lot of trouble, but he does manage to escape and get some heals onto Mageiden. Rositajonez getting cloned up by Asper, trying to avoid as much damage as he can. So good peels coming out from him. And I think Mageiden's going to be okay. He has his block coming up in around 30 seconds, and I don't think he's going to die. Rositajonez blocking offensively, trying to peel for Khryl. Kryl's in a lot of trouble right now. He does have that disperse in 8 seconds, but is he going to last? He's at 50% HP right now. Elite caught into a full clone, into a full poly. He decides to trinket that right away into a repoly, and Khryl just not taking that much damage. Just turning around onto Asper, who's got a 20% HP. Versace has his trinket up, so I think Asper's going to be okay with the Save by the Light proc. He's going to be able to spam out those heals and catch Asper back up, and both teams have once again stabilized.
Yeah, Devouring Play coming out though, half poly onto Versace. Asper's gonna have to play a little bit defensive, uses the Nature's Vigil to get a bit of extra healing right now. Versace playing very far back. Khryl reconvening with the Elite on the other side of the map. Mageiden taking some pressure. He just used his Cold Snap. He has a second block. He gets silenced at 10%. Almost a close call for Mageiden there. He's going to go into the block. Versace should be able to pick him up. Krill's going for a Fear right now. The Spectral Guys lands the full Fear. He's going to have to bubble out of that as Mageiden isn't even close to half health. Khryl gets defensively cloned. Now Asbur popping his Celestial Alignment to try and one-shot Rosita, but he blinks back immediately behind the pillar. And he's still unloading onto Rosita. It's not going to accomplish too much. He's going to have a block in about a minute. Unfortunately, Mageiden wasn't able to coordinate with him there to push him over. Versace popping the Avenging Wrath, though, and Khryl could go down, and he does. And the damage follow-up on Khryl
he took so much damage. That was crazy watching his
That was
HP.
everything saved up. He scared Rosita behind the pillar and then saved everything else and just one-shot Khryl.
That's crazy.
Asbur ended up getting
Can we get a replay?
85,000.
Yeah, I'm watching
I think
it right
Asbur got an 85,000 Star Surge maybe at the end.
Keep an eye on Krill's health right here, guys. I'm baffled. I don't even understand what just happened. I mean, Khryl had his Disperse there, didn't he? Yeah, he did. He did.
I think he did, yeah.
Elite was in. That was in. I'm going to watch it again.
So, yeah, Rosita is behind the box. I'm watching on this 30-second delay. Krill's at full health. Asper's chasing Rosita. He comes back, starts Star Surging him and Star Firing him, instant casts. Comet Storm. I think that was all the Mage.
Really?
And one Starfire. I didn't see a Star Surge at all.
No.
Watch it again. Watch. I don't
Khryl.
see a single Star Surge on a Khryl. It's a Starfire at the end of it.
Gosh, man. That setup is brutal.
Watch Asbur, because he uses all of his Star Surges here chasing Rosita, and then he doesn't kill him at all. He turns around. He gets a Starfire proc, and he uses it. There's one Star Surge and a Starfire with 2 Ice Novas, and that's what killed him.
It's ridiculous.
Take a look at the time in CC. Everyone on our Mage's transmog sat about 2 minutes of CC versus the 1.5 minute of Supatease fan club, and that 30 seconds is kind of a big deal. But there it is. Let's go ahead and see what map these players would like next. Wow. That's actually insane. I mean, I don't even think that was dampening, guys. That was a lot of burst no matter where you are, no matter how much dampening you have to heal through. I mean, they had defensive cooldowns to get through. Elite was also bubbled, but it was just a lot of burst. Alright, the next map chosen by our Mage's transmog is going to be on Tolvaron Arena. Alright, here we go. Here we go.
It seemed like the God Comp was, in a better footing when they were constantly going after Asbur, getting his cooldowns over and over and rotating it through it. And then there was a lull, a point where they just didn't accomplish too much. I think it's when they started trying to pressure Mageiden a bit, but I feel like if they just keep going after Asbur constantly, don't ever switch off of him, eventually he's going to get caught in a spot. And if he doesn't get caught in a spot, then he's never in a position to actually kill you or finish you off. I feel like it's probably their safest bet. And I mean, you can't polymorph a Boomkin, so you're not really left with any other option.
Yeah, and plus, like we've been saying, mages are just so tanky. They're so mobile. They're really hard to kill, even if they are using like their major defensive cooldown. Offensively, it doesn't usually matter. I think they're one of the hardest classes to kill right now, for sure.
Yeah, as we saw, there was offensive blocks left and right that game. It's actually pretty interesting to watch. But I don't know. I did not expect that conclusion to the very first map, but that could be detrimental as this is only a best of 3. So I don't know. This Holy Paladin God Comp has to win 2 in a row now to advance.
Yeah.
Can they do it?
Both teams early on are just trading like proc generation. They're getting Vampiric Touch Up, Moonfires to generate procs, and that's all they're doing early on. Pushing in for CC. Khryl is actually the Hodge that I believe got dispelled. Elite gets locked out. Krill's got to be careful. 30% HP. Stuck in the open. Asbur getting counter pressured now as well. Is going to Barkskin with the Avenging Wrath overlapped from Versace, and that's something that the God Comp's going to be able to exploit here in a second.
Yeah, and the root beam coming out from Asbur onto Elite there, and now he's gotten to the full polymorph. He does have sack up, but it's not breaking. Finally breaks. Did get that sack up on a Khryl. Well done by him. Asbur taking damage to the Devouring Plague comes out from Khryl on him. Versace has his wings up, though. He's going to be able to easily top him while he's not CC'd. And Asbur and Versace just pulling back, going to play defensive. They didn't really get too much there. I mean, Khryl still has his first trinket. Elite still has all his cooldowns, including Avenging Wrath. So maybe they don't feel like that trade was worth it, and they're going to sit back. Khryl running in, getting the double fear, though. Beautiful fear by Khryl, though. They're going to try to make something happen I'm not exactly sure who they're targeting. Looks like they're going to hit Mageiden. Full polymorph coming out onto Versace right now. Mageiden taking a lot of damage, down to 40% HP, getting bursted down. The Devouring Plague comes out from Khryl, saved by the light procs. Versace getting still CC'd. The Frost Shot comes out from Rositajonez onto him, and once the CC breaks, he should be able to top off Mageiden quite easily. Khryl taking a lot of damage to the defensive clone coming out onto Rositajonez there. Asbur getting silenced, and both Khryl and Asbur are in a little bit of trouble right now. Asbur taking a little bit more of the damage though. The root beam coming out on Rositajonez, he's going to immediately block that offensively. He wants to get something going on to Asbur. The Versace able to get the sack up on Asbur at the moment, so no polymorphs will be coming from Rositajonez onto him. And both teams at this point are pretty much okay.
Yeah, Mageiden and Asbur kind of trade based on positioning on what defensive cooldowns they have. Right now, Mageiden's taking the brunt and the most forward. He has his blocks. He's safe to do it. Versace's going to pop the Avenging Wrath to keep him aggressive. Asbur just spamming Cyclones over and over. Deep Freeze onto Versace. Rosita going for a Poly. Doesn't get it. Now Poly lands onto Elite. Kryl's going for the Master Spell, trying to fake cast the Counterspell. Now into the half. He's going to get hodged up at 70% HP. Asbur gets locked out on the Cyclone. A Deep Freeze onto Elite. Khryl still getting pressured at 40% HP. Trying to line of sight here. Now a hodge into Asbur. They're going to possibly make a turnaround here. He's going to Barkskin the Devouring Plague, and he's still getting destroyed through it. Mind Blast proc as well on top of all that damage. 40% HP remains. He's going into Bear from his Shadow Melded. Unfortunately, he got kept in combat by Elite. He's not going to be able to get a re-stealth. Comet Storm comes in. He's trying to run back to Versace. He's made it to the safe zone. He lands a Solar Beam on both the DPS, keeping himself alive.
Yeah, and if he gets away even for a moment, he's just displacing behind a pillar, getting rejuve up on himself, and sitting in bear form. And because of that, he's just so tanky. It's hard for them to actually land a kill. Anytime Mageiden or Asbur get targeted, they just run for the hills as soon as Versace's in CC. Must be frustrating for Khryl and Rositajonez. And once again, they're just going to pull back. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. Maybe they don't feel like they're favorable for cooldowns. Asper's Ancestral Alignment coming up in around 3 seconds, so he's going to have those big offensive cooldowns coming up. And Asper actually choosing to trinket instead of being caught in the open with no Barskin, just immediately trinketing that CC on him and running back. Versace now caught into the full polymorph at the moment. Mageiden taking a lot of the damage, so got caught into that disarm. Getting chunked down to 20% HP, and that's going to be his first block. He does have a second one available. And I think Versace, once he gets out of the CC, should be able to top off Mageiden, but Mageiden comes out of that a little bit aggressive. They're trying to make something happen onto Rositajonez, who's taking a little bit of damage right now. Asper actually having to blow that Barkskin too. I'm not sure what he Barkskin there, but Rositajonez taking a significant amount of damage. The sack and Ore Master coming out from Elite onto Rositajonez. Khryl getting caught into that hodge, just trying to cross CC, try to make something happen on Rosita. Asper taking a lot of damage though. He's just running, like I said, back to the pillar, back with bear form, rejuving himself while Versace is currently in crowd control.
Yeah, it's the defender's advantage when you're playing with two Holy Paladins on each side. Neither Holy Paladin wants to leave their pillar, and right now they're both in an awkward situation, stuck in the middle of the map, and both of them are getting a CC'd as a result. Asper and Mageiden having a 2v2 currently right now. He gets horrified, silence onto Versace's wings. He gets locked on the clone, no skin for 19 seconds. He's going to consider playing defensive here. The sacrifice on the poly out from Versace, well timed by him to avoid all of the crowd control. Rosita popping his on Ustrik. It looks like he wants to get something done, but he ends up blinking back defensively. He's going to be building out the icicles with that, and they're going to hit much harder as a result. Mageiden getting dotted up here. Khryl and Rosita being a little bit contemplative on what target they want. Asper blinks in. He's going to get hodged. He's not in Boomkin form. He's going to lose a lot of health if he's playing with the health glyph, and now he gets Devouring Plague. Versace gets a big heal though before he goes into the last poly. Asper's just going to line of sight with the dash. Elite caught into the deep freeze. Versace in a fear. Once again a 2v2. Khryl trying to go for the massive spell on the poly. He's going to land it. A defensive clone onto Rosita. Elite now into a half poly. He needs to be able to get the Cyclone out of it. Looks like he's going for it. Full clone onto Elite. Khryl is reasonably alone right now. Rosita's not spamming any CC. Another clone onto Elite. Kryl's trying to line of sight. He gets Ice now, but Mageiden gets silenced as they swap over to him, dipping him to about 50 HP. Versace eating a Vampiric Dispel, and he's dipping lower and lower. Stabilite's going to proc. They're trying to shred through it. The Solar Beam onto Elite with the bash now, but Mageiden's the one that's in trouble at 40% HP. Ore Mastery comes out for him. A full poly onto Elite. Khryl now falling behind. Elite's going to have to bubble to top him off here, and he should be able to.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hopefully top him off there, and Elite still has his Trinket available. Khryl still has his Disperse available, so for the meantime, he's okay. But Mageiden having to use his second block. He doesn't have Cold Snap up for another 50 seconds, getting chunked so hard while Versace's down that CC. And it looks like they found their new target of choice. They're having a lot more success going on Mageiden, who actually comes out of that CC a little bit early. He could just die. Versace having to bubble because of that. I think he came out of his block a little preemptive there, even with that Ice block left, going to make him immune for 3 seconds. That was scary for him, and because of that, Versace had to use his bubble. He still has Trinket ready. I mean, Mageiden's going to have a block in 27 seconds. Khryl getting caught into the full Hodge. Elite taking a little bit of CC. He does have Trinket. The full clone goes out onto him. And Khryl not taking too much damage at the moment, but they're trying to get some pressure rolling. Asbur caught into the full Hodge. And it looks like they're just using that Hodge for CC. The Deep Freeze comes out onto Versace. The Double Fear coming out onto Asbur. And it looks like Mageiden is still the target of choice. He has Sack up right now, though. It finally fades Versace into that polymorph at the moment. Caught into a repolymorph, and Mageiden could be a little bit of trouble. He has Cold Snap up. He's going to use that Cold Snap, catch that Cold Snap heal. Versace has his wings up, and he's going to be able to top off Mageiden, but they're working through these ice blocks slowly onto Mageiden. Now Rositajonez in a lot of trouble. He's on hypothermia. He has no blocks available for another 2 minutes. This defensive block could bite him in the butt. Elite getting bashed and able to bop that off himself. He's going to be able to top off Rositajonez. The Hodge coming out onto Asbur at the moment, but Mageiden is still the target of choice. The Devouring Plague comes out from Khryl onto him. Versace not in any CC. The Frost Shot comes out from Rositajonez onto Versace. And now Elite caught into that full polymorph, but Rositajonez is offensively cloned right now, so they're not going to be able to get too much damage onto him. Unless they can swap that Cyclone onto Elite. There's the full clone onto Elite. Rositajonez at 50% HP has no Save by the Light, down to 3% HP.
Bye-bye.
He might just die. The Ore Mastery Wings coming out from Elite, though. He's going to be able to spam out those heals. The offensive clone denying those heals from Asbur. Elite's going to Hodge up Asbur, and he's finally out of CC. He might be able to top off Rositajonez here, but he's still just on the edge of death. Big heals coming in from Elite, though. He's going to be able to hopefully top him off. Mageiden getting pressured so much now. Versace caught into that full polymorph. Mageiden does have a block available. But Rositajonez, both Mages, is getting pressured so hard, having to play defensive that the Ice Nova's coming in from Mageiden on Rositajonez. Rositajonez is spamming polymorphs as much as he can, doing anything he can to survive. The Save of the Light once again procs, and he's going to squeak by and survive.
Yeah, and Asbur caught into a Hodge right now. Rosita building up icicles. He's going to have a block in a minute. Asper's just standing on top of him and trying to punish him. Khryl lands a full fear, but a defensive clone on Rosita. He's going to trinket that to keep the pressure rolling onto Mageiden here. They need to get through this block very quickly. Versace into the deep. He's going to get out of it here. Pop the Avenging Wrath. Should be able to top him. He gets silenced on his cast. Elite gets locked on his cast as well. Khryl gets deep. They're going for the 100-0 on him. Comet Storm comes in. Mageiden's got to be careful, though. Disperse gets forced as Elite gets cloned, but Mageiden's dipping lower and lower. Rosita's doing a lot of work. Mageiden's going to be going into that block now. Versace should be able to top him off. Asper's getting hodged up now. Kryl's still under pressure, though. Elite's trying to spam the heals. He doesn't have any big cooldown right now to pick up. Khryl, he throws at the sack. He's got to cast quite a lot. Kryl's also He uses a Vampiric Embrace to try and get a little bit of extra healing from his damage. Mageiden throwing the counterspell onto Elite to pressure Khryl even harder. 47% HP remaining. Mageiden gets horrified, though. Kryl's trying to turn around on him. Elite's going to bubble out of the Hodge to keep Khryl offensive, but now he gets bashed. Elite choosing... He doesn't even have a bot to get him out. He's going to be stuck in that. Asper loading out the Star Surges. Elite's finally leaving the bubble here with a Hodge onto Asper. 3v1 onto Mageiden. He's desperately line deciding at 40% HP. Finally coming back to his healer here, but he's still poly. Devouring Plague comes in. It might be the end for Mageiden here into Shadow Word Death range. Versace with the clutch execution sense going to be able to top him back up to 70%. Now using the Aura Mastery to let his team free cast clones onto Rosita, Deep Freeze onto Elite, making the push onto Khryl here. No Disperse for one more minute, dampening at 26%. He gets the spell on the Hodge. Elite using his trinket to get that. Double Fear onto the DPS, dispelled by Versace instantly. Now the half poly onto Elite. Asper's got to make sure he gets the clone out of this. He's going to put him at the Root Solar Beam. He has no way out of it. Rosita's poly to 3v1 onto Khryl. He needs to get the clone, the full clone onto Elite. It's going to be the end for Khryl here. Denounces fly in, and that's it. Khryl getting annihilated. The cross CC being too much for our Mage's transmog. That's awkward to say.
So regardless of how Asper felt about this matchup, they took it 2-0, and they did. But oh my gosh, that was incredible at the very before, where Rosita was just coming out of those offensive blocks, but and they couldn't land the kill. That was crazy. There it is. Something else to